down, I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I won't. I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you. Though you might be a liar and a cheat too, I just can't quit you now 'cause I love you. Yes, I do. I can't let you go, baby. I can't let you go, baby. 'Cause I love you, I love you, I love you. No, no, no. Trouble, you best beware. And though deep down, I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I won't. I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you. Though you might be a liar and a cheat too, I just can't quit Though deep down I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I won't. I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and down.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Hey everybody, sorry I had my mic off for a second. I was talking to a few friends a little bit ago. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are all having a pretty good Friday here today. Probably be about an hour to an hour and a half stream tonight. I have to do some work tonight. I'm having too much time finding an editor of good quality worth the price. And so what I think I'm going to do over this weekend is really spend a lot of time on Adobe Premiere and just kind of build out a template where a lot of the stuff that would take me a while to do every single time I make a video, I can just have the template there, so it'll basically just cut down on my time because all the extra little tidbits are already there. So instead of adding a transition here, I just have all the transitions ready, and kind of pop them on where needed. I think that's going to be a good use of my time later on tonight and tomorrow, because I've been looking for editors for a while now, and like the editors, oh my gosh, just not meeting my expectations by any stretch of the imagination here. So I think I'm going to spend the majority of my weekend working on Adobe and really honing in on the editing style that I'm personally looking for, and that way the channel, I don't have to spend so much time editing every day. I can just take a little bit more time off of that and spend more time on the production side, because that's where I really struggle on YouTube videos. But yeah, kind of a gist of where the channel's headed this week. A lot of crazy stuff going on. And hey Elmer, hey Papa, hey Number, and hey Justin as well. Got you the big screen TV. Give a shout out to my kids, Vinny and Oakley. Hey Vinny and Oakley, happy, glad you guys will watch the stream. What's right here? California pre-rolls. There you go, coin phase. Like for a second. Oh, the TV. Oh yeah, this is the TV. The TV I have. It's like a gallery edition, which means it's supposed to be put on the wall flush like it is there. But basically, what that means is it has like this cool little photo. It has this photo setting or picture setting, so where it tries to be a painting on the wall, and it'll kind of transition through different paintings. So like while I'm streaming, you'll see tons of different pictures. This one is just a whole bunch of, I don't know what type of famous artist paintings, if you will, but there's also some really kind of fun stuff in there as well. That's kind of neat, kind of weird symbols and stuff like that. And hey, Thes, hope all as well. One on 33K before the 29.6. Oh, you're talking about us going up then down. And hey, Draconian Air, good morning, sir, from the Pillow Beach. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Let's kind of dive in here with Bitcoin and the way the market's been looking, because, man, you know, there was a little bit of a hope of us coming up today. I thought we might have a little bit of a double bottom on a lot of the Nasdaq stocks, and that may give us an opportunity to really pop up here with Bitcoin. But what happened instead? We popped up pre-market, so nothing really crazy happened with the Bitcoin prices. Of course, they just kind of went up a little bit. But as soon as the market opened, everything really started to fall apart, and Bitcoin was no exception. It followed the Nasdaq down. We can look at the Nasdaq here, actually, just go over for like maybe the 5-minute chart for the day. Can I? 15? No, it's not going to let me go to the pre-market. Well, basically, we had an opportunity to bounce up, and as soon as the market opened, we came down. And of course, if I go over here on the Bitcoin 5-minute, you guys will see that Bitcoin came screaming down here as well. So we had an opportunity to have a green day. It was dashed from us. Not much good came out of today. Going into later on this week, guys, we do have about a day and 23 hours left until we have this weekly close. It would seem most likely now that the Dow is closed, or excuse me, the Nasdaq and the market's closed, we're probably going to continue coming down here unless we have some type of major surge that's going to be coming from a whale, not really from technicals at this moment in time. What I'm looking for over the next couple of weeks is still to come into contact with that 200 weekly moving average, and I'm going to hope we can hold above that level. I really don't want to drop below that as far as closing down below it. You know, COVID was one thing, sure, but as far as 2018 and 2014, we really didn't close down below it too much, and we closed down below it once, actually, so it won't be the end of the world, but I really want to stay above this level. My main concern, and if you guys are part of the Sapphire memberships, I'm going to do a detailed video about all this stuff later on, because I know I told you guys I want to make more premium content for you guys, but One of the things I'm getting more and more concerned about as we head down towards this 200 weekly moving average is not particularly the way Bitcoin is trading. Bitcoin is kind of following its normal moves, right? Hit the 200, stabilize, then recover. Hit the 200, stabilize, then recover, okay? I'm hoping this time we can hit the 200, stabilize, and recover. But since Bitcoin has never been in a recession before, I still worry that there's an opportunity for us to come down below the 200 and stay down there for a while. And for that to actually happen, again, I'll talk more about this on the SAP membership stream. Excuse me. Probably, I'll make it Sapphire for the first few days, and then I'll move it down to Ruby and above, Ruby and Diamond. No, Diamond first, then Sapphire, then Ruby. But basically, if we go over here to the Nasdaq very fast, let's just go to the weekly chart. We broke down below this Fibonacci level. It's not the end of the world. We broke down below it a few weeks ago, and we still managed to have a big surge. This market at this moment in time, it's following its own technicals. We have some basic levels of support, but you most likely see them on the daily charts where you see we're trying to stay above it. Today is the first time we closed down below it. But of course, we closed down below it over here, still came back up. So I just want you guys to understand that. My big concern over the next few weeks and months here for the crypto markets and for, and for the stock market is this. Right now, the Nasdaq is getting very, 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 very close to the 200 weekly moving average, okay? Just like Bitcoin is getting close to its 200 weekly moving average. My concern here is, while Bitcoin likes to tap on the 200 and normally just kind of continues on its way, usually the Nasdaq doesn't have a good time when it's around the 200 weekly moving average. So the last time we were down below this level here, guys, and please make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already and like the stream as well. The last time we were down below the 200 weekly moving average as far as the Nasdaq is concerned was the 2008 financial crisis. And we stayed down there for a while, had a double bottom on the weekly chart, and then we surged back up, right? But the first time we came into contact with the 200 weekly moving average, we had a very nice bounce. This bounce in particular, I think, was like 150 days, 160 days. Yeah, 189 days actually, so a little bit more. So, you know, somewhere around there. And then the time before that, where we broke down below the 200 week moving average, was the dot-com bubble bursting pretty much. So those are the only two times we've actually ever broken down below the 200. And it's really rare after coming up a lot, right? Coming up, well, this I wouldn't say this is a lot, but coming up, it's rare that when we tap on it after a while, so like, you know, I'm talking about years of growth, not just a few months coming out of a bad time. We rarely ever actually tap on the 200. Even during COVID, we didn't tap on the 200 here, okay? We still came up. So after having all of this growth here, let me take off the drawings. I'm not saying this is happening, but my concern is that we will break down below this 200 weekly moving average, and that may cause Bitcoin to come well down below the $22,000, $21,000 level that we're thinking about here. So I'm kind of putting on the back burner for now. I'll make more videos about it in the future, but it's just something I thought you guys might want to know, that, hey, the Nasdaq is looking kind of sketchy at this moment in time, okay? Normally you don't see it drop down below it for too long. Happened way back over here in the 90s, early 2000s with the dot-com bubble. Over here with the financial crisis of 2008, Great Recession. And then will it happen this time? Or will we have something which we've had before? You know, maybe it'll just be a correction. We come down for a little bit, then we keep on going up. Maybe we'll come into contact with it, then just keep on going up. That's also an opportunity here, right? My thing for you guys is I will remind you guys of this next week or over the next few weeks here. If we come into contact with the 200 weekly moving average on the first attempt, we usually have a very nice bounce. Again, 2008 financial crisis, nice bounce back up. The Nasdaq in particular rallied up about 23%. Awesome. You may see Bitcoin have a nice rally as well. Over here, the dot-com bubble, it rallied up here as well. It came back up about 33%. So it did have a nice rally here, okay? So that'll be a good opportunity regardless if we come back down. I think we're also just going to have a nice little bump there, and that bump will most likely be false hope if we're going historically, but we'll have to see how all that pans out. But I just want you guys to understand that right now. It's nothing crazy bad right now. It's not going to happen right now. You know, we have no idea. But it's just something I thought you guys might want to know, just to kind of have in the back of your mind saying, let me keep an eye on this in case I'm sick for a week or something like that, whatever. You guys just understand that this 200 weekly moving average on the Nasdaq is quite crucial, mostly because Bitcoin has been following the Nasdaq here. Some other things you guys should know as well, if we go back over here to watch list, let's go over to the SPY. During COVID, we came down below the 200 weekly on this one, so it's not too much as of a concern. 2008 financial crisis, we came down below it quite a bit as well. So it's not too much of a level of support for the S&P 500. Even going back over here to the dot-com bubble, it didn't really mean all too much here. If anything, it'd probably be on the monthly chart. Whenever we break down below the 20 and the 50, we tend to have some bad times, right? Breaking down below the 50 seems to be the bad part here. 50 is where the bad stuff happens. We're not even close to the 50 yet. COVID, we broke down below it, but I guess that was COVID, so it's separate. But right now, we're pretty far away from that level of support, okay? And the last one right here is the Dow. There's the monthly chart. Let's go back to the weekly chart. Again, the 200 is not a big deal here, not really a big deal. We broke down below it here. That was a level of resistance. That was bad. But during COVID, we came down below it and nobody really cared. Nothing really crazy happened besides just the fact that it was COVID drop. This time, maybe. The last time we were below this was the 2008 financial crisis. And the last time before that was all the way over here about the dot-com bubble. So, but not nearly as drastic. You can see it didn't go up as high. So, take that with a grain of salt. It does seem like on the Nasdaq in particular, that 200 weekly moving average, guys, is going to be the thing to watch. And, I flip a coin right now if we're going to hold it. But you really want to see this stay strong. Or maybe it'll buck all of those expectations and then maybe it'll just continue going up. Maybe it won't follow the same historical pattern. Things like that have happened before. But it's just something I thought you guys might want to have in the back of your head again. All right. Give her the NASDAQ charts here. There we go. Okay. But so far what we're looking for today, guys, some really basic technicals. We're just waiting for a breakout. We tried to break out late last night. We tried to break out this morning. And both times nothing really happened. You can see we got above the line, but we were never able to actually close above it. So we never had that full-on reversal. It doesn't mean it's over yet. We could still have some type of reversal trend here. Depends on what the people on the weekend are really thinking the whales. But, we're in this nice consolidation pattern. Over the next few hours, sometime later on tonight or tomorrow, we're either going to have a nice breakout or we're going to have a nice little tumble down. Regardless, you guys should be able to find a good trade there. You just want to wait for some type of maybe an hour candle to drop down below this point right here. Hopefully the move happens at the end of a 1 hour candle or a 4 hour candle. That way it makes everything a little bit easier. And if I'm at the 1 hour chart right now, you can see earlier today, we tried to break out, got rejected. We tried to break out again before ultimately getting rejected hard here below all the moving averages. And now we're just kind of gearing up for another attempt, hoping that nobody really shorts us back down. That's really going to be a concern for people today. The stock market still looks like it wants to come down even more. I think Bitcoin is kind of following that same pattern here. And if we go over on CNBC, again, this has been a pretty dismal week for tech. Tech stocks mired in the longest weekly losing streak since the dot-com bust. So, still in a bad spot, guys. It's still in a bad spot. I won't go make it so depressing, but we are in a really bad spot as far as the markets are concerned. It doesn't matter too much right now just because things are kind of moving slow and we all kind of have our individual plans. But I want you guys to think about what I told you guys before about the 200 weekly moving average on the Nasdaq. And then what your plan is for buying Bitcoin for the long term. And understanding the long term really does mean a long term hold. It doesn't mean you're holding for just a few days. It does mean you're holding for years if you guys are going with the cycle methodology here. Even if we were to drop down below the 200 weekly moving average. All right. I'll put that right there. No, 15 should do the trick here. Yeah. All right. The bottom, double top. That's not good. All right, we'll just have this here for now. All right. Hope you guys are all having a good Friday, though, besides all that kind of stuff I just said right there. And hey, Elmer, I am having a good Friday. I got to do a lot of work here later on tonight, but I'm going to be excited for it. And hey again to Oakley and Vinny, in case they're still there. And hey, Norman, my account got suspended. So basically, my account was suspended, banned, whatever you want to say. What ended up happening is there's a glitch going on with YouTube right now, and it's banning a whole bunch of crypto YouTubers by mistake. It happened to me and a few other people I know. YouTube is now understanding this, and I think they're fixing it up more. But I had to go through a process to get it fixed. so my channel was pretty much offline for a week. I made another channel that has the 24-hour streams. Those are still going right now on the other channel. But yeah, it definitely was a pain. I'm glad I got my channel back, but there seems to be a problem right now going on, and I think YouTube is going to fix it as fast as they can because nobody wants to have their channel banned, of course. It's very freaking scary because, you know, I've worked thousands of hours on this channel, and just to see it go away like that off of a glitch, it was really demoralizing, to say the least here. What's right here? And hey, A51, Dogecoin to the moon. There we go. Doge will only do good every day. It won't do good every day, but I think it'll do good in the long term, especially because Elon has an investment in it, right? And hey, Pento, I was listening to some other investors. He was saying something about the Bollinger Bands. Can you give your explanation of what that is and how it looks in the chart? Yeah, so I can make a video about that later on as well. Basically, let me see if I can pull up a Bollinger Band on Bitcoin's chart here. Let me put up another chart here. What's the best way to do this? Yeah, that's better. All right. So I'll add a Bollinger Band on here very fast. Do I have it? There we go. Bollinger Bands. Okay. So let me make sure you guys can see this, because I know the lines are kind of faint sometimes. So you see this cloudy area in the middle, and then these blue bands on the side. That's a Bollinger Band right there. Basically, usually when we come into contact with a Bollinger Band, it means it's a pretty strong level of resistance, and it means that we're going to have some trouble breaking out above it, and we're going to have some trouble breaking down below it, okay? Right now, you can see we really drag the Bollinger Band down. Once you start seeing some stress on it, that's usually a signal that, hey, things are not looking so good at the moment. So if we kind of go back in time here a little bit, you can usually find support along these bands here. Usually find some support, but not always, okay? Not always. You can see over here, we had a crash. We came out of the Bollinger Bands completely. They're kind of just really basic levels of resistance and support. I don't really use them too much on the daily chart. I just kind of check on them every now and again, and if I see them making a move towards the top, I'm like, okay, we're either headed for some type of level of resistance or about to have a surge and try to bust out of it. On this, since we've been bearish for the last few months, we've been pushing down it quite a bit, but maybe on the 15-minute chart it might look a little bit nicer here. So you see how there's some narrow parts right here, and then there's some wide parts like that. Usually when we're getting very narrow, it means pretty soon we should be looking for a big move up or down. After this, we tend to consolidate a little bit of time, of course. But once they get a little bit more narrow, we tend to have those larger moves. So if I go over to the 4-hour chart right now, maybe do the trick. We're getting closer and closer. Maybe over the next, I would say, according to the Bollinger Band only, we should have a pretty decent level of volatility here. And kind of going what I just said a few minutes ago, actually, within the next 24 hours or so, we should have a pretty big pop or a pretty big dump. Whatever way it happens, it's going to be pretty nice sized. Now that we've kind of consolidated a little bit of time. But Bollinger Bands, they're okay. I don't use them too often. If you want the full nerded out explanation, oops, messed up the spelling right there. I'd go to Investigating Type Bollinger Band. They have a quick video right here, but they'll give you the key takeaways, like Bollinger Bands are a technical analysis tool developed by John Bollinger for generating oversold or overbought signals. There are 3 lines that compose the Bollinger Band: a simple moving average, the middle band, and upper and lower band. And it kind of explains the math behind it and everything like that. What does it tell you? Overbought, oversold, same stuff we talked about before. I don't know. I guess I just have the. For me personally, I like to have all the information kind of on the bottom here, so I don't have to worry about what's on the chart besides usually just a few trend lines or stuff like that. But usually with me, it's like I like the RSI, so you can see we're kind of in the middle. We're kind of slowing down. We're in the middle of the RSI here for the 4-hour chart. That means we have enough room to kind of go up a lot or down a lot. Not telling you which way it's going. It's just saying, hey, we have some room to kind of move from here. Whereas when the Bollinger Band was like really wide over here, you can see the RSI was really, really low at this point on this 4-hour chart. And that means we need to start cooling off here a little bit because we were very oversold. And we did cool off a little bit, and not much has happened since then. But usually when you start to see them get closer and closer, you're expecting a pretty large move to come out of that. Preferably, I like to use it on the daily charts in 4. You can use it more with the 15-minute chart if you want to, but you can see some really freaky wonky shapes in that case, right? But I normally don't use them too much. I use them every now and again, but not really. Leave that page right there. Oh, excuse me. Get rid of this. And one other thing to you guys. Again, not much has been happening over the last 24 hours here. You've had a few things popping up like Monero and Cosmos. They're both going up. But everything else is pretty much unch right now. Like, everything is pretty much unch. You have some things doing a little bit worse than others, but for the most part, the market in the last 24 hours really hasn't done anything too exciting. We tried to break out. Bitcoin got rejected here. ZRX, Kyber Network Crystal is up a little bit as well. Monero, we just talked about that one. On the downward side, Terra is still falling down. Lido DAO is down like 7%. GMT is down 5%. So you are seeing some stuff get hit right now, but for the most part, everything's just kind of unch at this moment in time, leading us into next week, which will probably next week should be exciting just because we're most likely going to run into the 200 weekly moving average of the Nasdaq, and if we do that, we could have a really nice bounce. But that might also take maybe a few weeks as well if we have a bear market rally before then. Okay. And hey, Crypto Hash, dump it. Yeah, right. I don't have enough money to dump this market right now. Secret Fish does, but I don't think he wants to dump this either right now. Everybody's just kind of patiently waiting because nobody knows what's going to happen over this weekend. It's we've really just been kind of going sideways here since we had that major crash. I think what happened is we got pretty oversold just because of how bad this UST Luna debacle was, and that really freaked the market out more than anticipated. So people bought in, but now people are just kind of like, now what happens now? Especially since we just talked about the Nasdaq with the 200 weekly moving average. What happens if we break down below that? Will Bitcoin go down below 20,000? We'll go down to 16,000, 15,000, even less than that. That'll be a big if, and if Bitcoin does have a really bad time because the Nasdaq breaks down below its 200 weekly moving average, and we go into a full-on like a bubble bursting moment, like a 2008 financial crisis or a dot-com bubble, what that will mean is Bitcoin will either have to decouple from it, like get away from the Nasdaq, stop following it, or the Nasdaq will drag Bitcoin down whether it wants to go down or not, and that'll really kill a lot of altcoins and really shake out a lot of the really shitty altcoins out there, out of the market as well. That's right there. And hey, Papa Egod, they need to ban those Hoskins and Elon scam streams. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to. There just seems to be so many of those scam streams, and I don't know what they're going to be able to do with it because there really is so many scam streams online right now. I'm not even going to show them to you anymore because I don't want to get banned by accident again. But yeah, if you guys ever want to do something about it, you guys have to go watch the video for a few seconds and then report the video to YouTube and say this is a scam stream or something like that. And that's how YouTube will really be notified that something bad is happening there. And then they'll take it down. But usually it takes a little bit of time for them to take it down, of course. And hey, Elmer, I'll use the Bollinger Bands and the 5-minute chart for day trading. That's not too bad either. You can use them for the 5-minute charts. I don't really use them too much, but that's usually because I'm using the RSI there. But usually when you're starting to see them squeeze, that is a good moment to make you bet right there because usually things are pretty calm and you don't have to worry about all the volatility in the level 2 markets. And hey, Pinto. Oh, yeah, exactly. I like the RSI a lot more. I think I told you guys the guy that runs... I used to have an oscillator here. He kind of updated everything, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly... Like, Vital Oscillator, Vital Volatility... Chart Prime Oscillator, so I think this is the new one. I don't know how to read this one yet, so let me close this one very fast. This is a new oscillator that he has, and oh my gosh, I don't know how to use it yet. Is there a way to do settings on this one yet? Settings, no. So until I understand how to use this one, I'm kind of at a loss just now. Oh wait, well, I just did something. What was that? Okay, there we go. Settings. Oh my God, there's a lot of data here. Sure, inputs, bearish divergence on, off, hidden bearish divergence off, on. Divergence outlook 50, that's fine. Minimum distribution, that's 10. Oh, yeah, here we go. We're getting shorted right now. At least Ethereum is. Bitcoin is still hovering above its level of support. Yeah, I'll have to learn how to read that. I'll have to learn how to read that there. Um, but right now, it looks like whatever this is saying bearish. So, like, once we get to the top, that's more bearish, I guess, here. When we get to the bottom, that's more bullish, I guess, what it's saying. So right now, we're kind of in the middle, so I guess it's almost like a little bit of an RSI. I'll keep track of it, though, for you guys. I have to learn how to use it first, though. So let's get this one back up and running. I'll have it on this stream for now, but I'll have to ask the guy how to actually use this stuff because I have no idea. Ethereum, don't go down below the chart. There we go. This is Ethereum's little support that we just had from a few minutes ago. Bitcoin's getting taken down too. Yowza. Definitely seeing some bad moves right now. Now let me put this same oscillator up here very fast. There you go. Yeah, but you are seeing stuff get hit a little bit. I guess this is a 5-minute chart. This is a 15-minute chart, so it doesn't look as drastic. So there you go. Now it's a little bit more drastic here on the chart. There you go. Yeah, it should be fine. But yeah, it looks like everything's getting hit a little bit right now. We just started a new day, and that's probably why. But we'll see how bad this week really gets, guys. It's we're still very bearish, of course, but we're hoping to have some, hopefully, a green week next week. I mean, again, we've had so many red weeks. We're due for one green week. But at this point, since we're kind of making history now, nobody knows when this bad little stretch that we're in is going to really going to finish up so we can turn green for at least a week, right? Just a week is all we're asking for. Mm. And hey, Bulldozer, thoughts on Polyswarm? I haven't heard anything on Polyswarm. I don't know anything about it personally. What I'd probably do is hop onto their website, look at their social media, see if they have anything good going on with it. But I haven't heard of Polyswarm before. If any of you guys have heard about it, let them know. But I don't know anything about it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you any personal thoughts about it. As long as it has utility, though, I'd be fine with it. But I would try to buy it around the same time Bitcoin's coming in contact with the 200 weekly moving average, and then keeping some cash on hand as well to buy it just in case Bitcoin goes well down below the 200 weekly moving average over the next few months. And hey, Michael, I checked out one of them streams today, and it had Elon talking in it, and they had it where people couldn't chat unless they were have been subscribed for over 5 years to the channel. Yeah, that's pretty ludicrous right there. I rarely have subscriber mode on anymore. I just try to do subscriber mode when there's a lot of scammers out there. But I mean, it's a problem. I know YouTube's working on it. It seems like all social media is having these types of issues right now. Like Twitter's dealing with bots. Instagram bots, TikTok actually have bots now too on TikTok. It's only going to get worse, I think. I don't know really how they police this unless they have a really ironclad proof way of registering for social media. So, like, imagine if you wanted to have a social media account in the future, you would have to have some type of ID or something like that. I don't even know if that would really work because of how maybe bots can get around that too. Probably could get around that. So. I don't see a way for YouTube or any of these other social media platforms to really fix these bot issues. You guys might have an idea, but I just don't see them having the they have the resources perhaps, but I don't think they want to spend the resources on getting rid of them because they see them as kind of like something bad, but not something that's damaging their brand totally. And until it gets to that level, they're not going to really care as far as, oh my God, there's like 1,000 bots on every YouTuber's video. You know, they don't really care at this point. They try to put that on us to really delete all the comments. But if we go over here to my channel, remember, comments, right? Oh, these are the stuff I haven't responded to. Normally I respond to your guys' stuff. But there's varieties of comments. But I usually have to go in there like 5 minutes a day, hide this user, hide this user, hide this user. You know, Telegram, hide the user. It's just so much freaking spam. And when I ban that one person, I'm also not banning all the people that are responding to him. So it's just it really is a pain. And these are the ones that have actually been allowed to go through. They're not the ones that have been held by review from YouTube. So I gotta ban these people as well. I do this more often because it's already held in review for me. But the published ones, they just keep on going, and it's full of spam. You got real people in here too, but really a lot of it's just spam. And personally, I can't keep up with it, so I have no idea how to really deal with it. Well, I know how to deal with it. I just kind of ignore it for the most part. So, because it's not worth my time to really go after all that. I assume you guys know what spam is and not to fall for it, because these are on every single YouTuber's channels these days. And hey, D's, what's that new perk sense? Yeah, so I ended up, I told you guys I had gotten some things over the past few weeks here, but I ended up getting you guys some medals and stuff like that. I'll probably change them up over time. But yeah, so I ended up putting out new emojis and new things for you guys as far as memberships. And so that way you guys could have, just different stuff than the traditional YouTube stuff. So it's medals and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty nice. But what do you call I think you guys will like them, and I'm gonna change them up every now and again depending on what I feel like changing them up to. But right now it seemed like medals were really easy. I tried to have a whole bunch of other stuff, and I tried to upload a bunch of emojis too. But a lot of the stuff I wanted to put on these emojis and badges for you guys, for if you guys have been here long enough, or if you guys want to use custom emojis. The file size for all the pictures I was trying to upload was way too big because I got the really high quality stuff, and so nothing I got was actually going to fit because it was too large of a file size, which really sucks. So what I was able to do today only on the emoji side was I think I only added 2 emojis. I think it was an up arrow and a down arrow, and that's it, because I wanted to have a bull, a bear, a whole bunch of cool stuff, and nope, all the file size was way too large. But what do you call me? See, let me see if I can find an emoji here. Add a reaction. Custom emojis. Symbols. No, I can't even find them on mine. Up. Nope. I can't even get mine emojis to show up on my thing. I'll have to try again pretty soon. But yeah, it's very interesting though. So I'll have fun with it later on. How do I get out of this now? Don't know how to get out of it. That's okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. What's right here? And hey, Perez, diamond hands until the end will pay out. Oh yeah, guys, if you guys just hold, it will pay out over time. Just make sure you guys have your own strategy. It can evolve a little bit as well. I see D says diamond hands, but not buying more is a stupid strategy. Oh, but not buying more, yeah, definitely. I keep buying the dips. It depends on your plan, but it's up to you. Yeah. So I'll go over this because I know a lot of you guys are always new at the stream. You kind of in here for, you guys come once a week, usually when you guys have some more free time. There's a few different strategies here if you guys do want to get into this, if you want to buy during this kind of capitulation part of the cycle. The easy way to think about it is, let's do this. Just ignore that white line going down. I'm not going to really take it off because I'm going to hate to put it back on there. Okay, we can talk about a few things here. Okay. So looking over the last few major capitulation points that were preceded by death crosses, the 20-week moving average coming down below the 50-week. So an example would be here before COVID, here before the big drop right there, and then again going all the way back down here to 2014, happened right there. The death cross came down hard. Now normally what's going on is we're coming down to the 200 weekly moving average. Ignore the orange line for now. But we come down to the 200 weekly moving average. That's a really great time to buy. You hold and you sell after a few years, few months, depending on how long you guys really want to hold it for. Same thing happened here. Same thing happened here. You buy low, sell high, buy low, sell really high in some certain instances, right? And right now, we're getting closer and closer to coming back down to the 200 weekly moving average again. Well, sometimes we don't actually make it all the way down here, even though it looks like we are this time. So if you want to hedge against the market and say, hey, maybe we're not going to go down this low this time, maybe we're going to go up a little bit, we only go down to $25,000, then we do a reversal, whatever it may be. You guys can just start buying a little bit of crypto every day, or a little bit of crypto on the major dumps, and that way, in case this was really the bottom here, or this was the bottom, or this was the bottom, you still have exposure to the market. And if you just hold for a long enough period of time, you guys will be perfectly fine making a good return on that investment. Okay. Now, another way of looking at this is, so that's the first way, or the second way, which is buying at the 200 weekly moving average. The third way you guys can do this is like a hybrid of both of those. So you buy a little bit here, but you also have a bunch of cash on hand in case we do hit these levels. Then you can just buy up in bulk and then just kind of ride the wave, so to speak. Okay. But no matter if you guys are buying a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, all throughout this period of time, you guys can't sell it, because then you guys will be losing money. If you're buying anything right now for this long-term cycle plan of playthrough, you guys really have to have it in your mind that you're holding this for the long term. If you guys don't really have the mental fortitude to do that, because it is hard to just see your money go down and down and down and down and down, it can be very, very, very rough. Another way you guys can do it is buying off of capitulation, and it looks like we did capitulate here on the weekly, on the daily, depending on which chart you look at. Not on the Binance chart or the index chart, but it looked like it happened on the Coinbase chart, so I'm just going to say it was a capitulation during that moment in time. But the capitulation from 2018, as you guys remember, we capitulated on November 20th. Ultimately, came down another like 25%. So capitulation does not mean the end of the road here. The one thing I want you guys to understand, though, is if I go over here to the which EMA is this? Which EMA? 1 week. Okay, let's hide this one. Another way to look at this is if we add the 200 weekly EMA, not the 200 weekly SMA, the exponential moving average there. Usually, well, let me just go to the weekly chart so I can show you guys, and let me get rid of the volume here. I don't like the volume. So in 2014, we tapped on it. We held just like what we did with the 200 weekly here, simple moving average. Not much was there. But in 2018, we really started to pop off when we got back above that 200 weekly EMA. When we got above that sucker, we just started to rip, and we kept on ripping and ripping and ripping until we hit this little bit of a high over here, okay? Over here, as far as COVID, I know it looks a little bit, well, let me go to the daily chart. I might show you a little bit more data here. There we go. We were down here for a little bit, consolidating, but as soon as, again, this orange line right here, as soon as we got above the orange line, things really started to pick up, and then we were off to the races up to the highs that we know now, $69,000, okay? So, right now, we're already down below the 200 weekly SMA right here. We're already down below that, okay? Go back to the weekly chart here. Oh, wait, no. It was fine here and here. I guess it'll... Is this chart? It is chart. Let me take it back to week. Sorry. I guess the 200 weekly EMA, the 200 daily EMA also had a big pop right there. But right here, as soon as we popped, we also just kept on going up, and I'd rather buy right here, I guess, than I would say over here as well. Did it matter over here? Yeah. In 2018, on the daily chart, you guys can see a little bit better. We never broke above it until right here after kind of going through the nasty move down. The day we broke out above it, we really didn't do much. But the following day, everything really started to boom up and gear up there. But you had to wait for the candle to close above this level before everything went up. Okay. Now, if we go back over here to modern times today, we're close to breaking down below it again here. And then after we break down below it and hold for probably about a week, then the next time we break out above this here and close above it from a daily chart perspective, that should really be a good sign for us to have a big move up, and we might be out of that bear market conditions for the foreseeable future after we break it out back above this sucker, but we haven't broken down below it just yet. And you could even see going above here back to COVID, and I know COVID was such a fast drop, but we were only down below it for like 7 days, not even a week pretty much. But as soon as we got back above it, everything really started to look good for crypto, and it just kept on going up and up and up and up, okay? So just remember that moving average as well. I'm not going to talk about it too much more until we actually start breaking down below it again. But the real key here is to have a plan, whether it's to buy a little bit every day, a little bit every week, a little bit every month. It's up to you guys. Or if you guys want to buy in capitulation, which happened a few days ago, or if you guys want to just buy on the 200 weekly moving average, or if you guys want to buy off of a Fibonacci level, that might be of a longer term holding process. So, we talked a few minutes ago of what happens if the Nasdaq breaks down below the 200 weekly moving average. While Bitcoin normally doesn't break down below the 200 weekly moving average, neither does the Nasdaq. But Bitcoin really doesn't have a history. If we go back in time here, we haven't seen Bitcoin break down below the 200 weekly moving average and really just stay down there for a while. Meanwhile, as far as the Nasdaq's concerned, let's go to the Nasdaq here. Let's go to the weekly. We're close to our 200 weekly moving average as well. But whenever we break down below the 200 here, the Nasdaq is usually in a pretty bad situation. Break down below it, I think 43% or something like that. Went down about 42% after breaking down below it. The last time over here, there's the dot-com bubble. So it usually only happens in really bad market events, like really, really bad market events. Normally, we're not even too close from it. And then right there, 63% during the dot-com bubble. So we're really hoping that over the next month or so, the Wall Street is really going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe they can kind of change up their guidance just a little bit, because right now everybody is so pessimistic about the market that it really is feasible for us to drop down below that yellow line right there, okay? And so, if we drop down below that yellow line, since Bitcoin has been correlated to the Nasdaq price, so like if Nasdaq goes down, Bitcoin goes down. If the Nasdaq goes up, Bitcoin goes up, right? If that happens, there's a chance that Bitcoin may, for the first time, be dragged underneath the 200 weekly moving average, and then it goes down a lot lower than our own expectations. And that'll be something that we'll have to deal with when we come to that, when we go down that road. But at this point in time, I'm aware of it. Right now, I'm thinking of a strategy to kind of go along with that theory. But right now, I'm not entirely sure what my strategy would be at this point in time. I'm just thinking, we've had a really big run-up like we did with the dot-com bubble, like a great run-up. We're coming really fast down towards this 200 weekly moving average. Normally, we bounce, then we break down, so we don't have a good bounce there beforehand. But I'm really concerned about that 200 weekly moving average. Now, in my mind, if that did happen with Bitcoin, I would be forced to use a few different Fibonacci level lines here just to kind of see some realistic spots, because if the Nasdaq came down 40% from its 200 weekly moving average, if Bitcoin did the same thing, that means Bitcoin would come down to like $13,000. I don't think we're going down that low, but it's increasingly a possibility because of how nasty the Nasdaq could be. We really want to hope that the Nasdaq, more importantly, Wall Street can get its act together, or actually, not Wall Street, the Federal Reserve can get its act together. We can start to see some, like the inflation really start to come down, good monetary policy, that type of stuff, not spending as much money. That could help us out, but I don't know if that's really going to be the thing that helps us out here. Some of the support levels I'd be looking at, there's a few of them here. And one more over here. So you're going to see a cluster for these Fibonacci levels over here. But I think if things got really, really bad for crypto, like, and I mean like really, really bad, like way worse than anybody else is expecting in the whole market, then you could see us come back down to the support level, first of all, of about 16,000, right? And then if things get in this scenario, if things got really worse from here, I think it would be more of a very long wick of a big crash, like another capitulation moment, if you get what I'm saying. And I think that would at most bring us back down here towards like $12,000. I don't think we're going to hit that by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just saying, I should have a plan in case something like that, something that crazy were to happen, because all the Fibonacci levels right now seem to be around this cluster right here. So I would really expect it to be like a 14,000, 15,000 is my low, 14,800 is the low for this cycle, potentially, okay? So maybe I can draw it like this. Move drawings. Oh, okay, that's not going to work. Worst case scenario, I think, is if we fall somewhere into this green box. Worst case scenario here. Worst case scenario. My worst case scenario for a while was just the 200 weekly moving average right up here. Now my worst case scenario, again, this only gets triggered if the Nasdaq starts going down below its own 200 weekly moving average, would be Bitcoin down here to about $16,000 to $14,000. That's where I would start really, that's where the last stand would be technically on my thesis of how far we could go back down. But again, I'm not saying this is going to happen by interest of imagination. It's just something that could happen if the Nasdaq really does go back into some type of really bad situation, where historically, when it breaks down below its 200 weekly moving average, it tends to just do horribly. Like, the only other two times it's broken down below the 200 weekly moving average, 2008 financial crisis and the dot-com bubble. That's it. Even with COVID, it didn't even do it. Didn't do it. So, I won't talk about this too much more here. I'm going to do more dedicated videos for you guys at the diamond level and then the sapphire and ruby level as well. So keep an eye out for that this weekend. They won't be nearly as talkative and stuff like that, or as like stream friendly. They'll be mostly just me talking about what's going on here, and they might be a little bit longer videos, but I'll kind of go over multiple things here for you guys that are in the memberships, because I promise you guys I was going to do more videos for you guys. But it's just in my head right now when I see everything screaming up here, and I'm like, okay, there's still a good chance if we have a really big cool down, and this is not just a correction but a full-on blown bear market, we could really have a nice little dump here. And on top of that, if you go to the monthly charts here, same type of concept with the 50-month moving average. You can see 50-month moving average. Oh, let me zoom in for you guys, actually. 50-month moving average breakdown, bad time here. Kind of tapping on the 200 monthly moving average. Came well below it over here, though. But the 50 there on the monthly came down. We're getting close to the 50 here as well. The 50-month moving average is around 10,500. On the weekly side, it's about 10,685. So they're pretty close together. You'd be breaking down below both of them around the same exact week, if you will. But that's really what I'm concerned about over the next few weeks here. That's really what I'm concerned about. On the other side of that, again, realistically, what would happen here is it wouldn't just be a complete breakdown, like it wouldn't be like that, just going down and kind of doing some stuff and coming back up. More realistically, we would come down here for a little bit, have a massive rebound, probably back up to like 12,500-ish or so, maybe somewhere around here. We would get rejected by this green line there, or it's red now, but we would get rejected by that line. Then that would be the breakdown there. That would really be the breakdown that we're really concerned about. But if I can show you the last few bounces here off the 200. In this circumstance, we actually came above the 20 and the 50, found support, then we came back down, then we had a nasty time. In this scenario way over here, we bounced, we didn't even get close to the 20. So we'll see how it ends up coming this time, but I think we should have a decent sized bounce. So whether it's this week, the next week, or the week after that, if we come into the 200 weekly moving average, that'll be a great time to do leverage trades on Bitcoin for a nice bounce, and that'll be a great opportunity to be doing options and specifically calls for your favorite Nasdaq plays like an Apple, Microsoft, something like that. Those would be fantastic opportunities. Now, this is a weekly chart, so this is 2 weeks of good upward movement. And this scenario here from 2008 financial crisis, this was a little bit more than 2 weeks. This was about 56 days, 8 weeks of, nice movement. Jeez, I'm just talking so much, I'm burping. 8 weeks of nice movement, and then we haven't had it since then, so we'll see how good the bounce is this time. But we're hoping for a good bounce, hopefully at least 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, we'll have to assess the market there, and then you could sell your puts or you sell your calls, start opening puts up for long-term moves here, and I think a lot of people would probably like that. If we do bounce off of this, because I think this will drag the entire market down, just not the Bitcoin, but like the S&P and the Dow. If we bounce off of this, I'm going to start buying puts on a whole bunch of different plays. So I'll be buying puts on Apple, Microsoft, the SPY, anything else I think that's overbought pretty much in this market. Even more on Netflix. I'll be, sell them off. And then I'll probably even get more greedy over the next quarter here. If I see something that has earnings timed up with this big market move down, I'll probably even buy puts on those ones to hope for a big drop, just like what we did with Netflix puts. We made a killing off of those puts. They exploded with profit. But okay. So kind of the big warning here. I don't know if the algorithm I use will use it too much. We'll have that as a level of support. I can check it very fast. Give me a second while I take a sip of tea here for you guys. Its support seems to be way down here at about $14,000 instead of $14,800 like mine. But I'm just using Fibonacci levels. It's probably using something else here for the algorithm. But yeah, we're already down below. I forget what it's always called. He has a fancy name for it. Dynamic reactor. We're down below the dynamic reactor. We usually have bad times when we're down below that. Even all the way over here, bad times underneath the dynamic reactor. We're down below it now. We're currently breaking down below it, I would say. But that'll be a level of resistance we have to deal with for the foreseeable future, which is about $30,000, $29,000. But going off of these levels, you know, a stop at $20,000, which is kind of around that 20-week moving average, so we might have a long week down there. But if things get really bad with the Nasdaq in particular, that's where all the other stuff gets unlocked, right? If the Nasdaq kind of calms down over the next month or so, we're not going to see 14, 15, 16, anything like that $1,000. It's only if the Nasdaq really breaks down below its 200 weekly moving average, specifically because for some dumb reason, Bitcoin is correlated to that specific index. And I don't like it, but that's just the way the market is. So we kind of have to accept it at this point. But yeah, so, you know, my 2 cents there. We'll see how bad everything gets. But right now, you know, we're not looking so hot at the moment. Let's go back over to the 4 hour here. Looks like that move down was stopped a little bit here. And back over to the 5. There we go. And the Ethereum's still kind of holding up a little bit here. Double tap. Oh, wasn't that working? There we go. Okie dokie. Okay. Hades, Mike, one question. Is giving a super chat to a particular YouTuber considered a donation? So the way it works with super chats is I get the money if you guys super chat it for me, but YouTube takes like a 30% cut of it. So whatever you guys donate in super chats, YouTube takes the 30% cut. I make 70% cut. The only way that gets changed up a little bit is if you guys go through Apple. Apple also takes a 30% cut. Then YouTube takes a 30% cut, and then I get what's left over after that. So it's kind of weird how it works. But if you guys donate money, I do get some portion of that to me. But it's not considered a donation. Like, I'm not a charity type of donation, if that's what you're asking now. I wish I was a charity, but I make too much money. And hey, Grosso. Hi, Mike. In your experience, would you say double tops and double bottoms have a high rate for local high and local lows? Depends on the overall market, so you kind of want to zoom out when looking at a double bottom or a double top. If you finish off a really great move, like, and you've gone really high up there, and then you see double top, that really suggests a really nice downward move is coming as well. If you've come down quite a bit and you see the double bottom, that usually represents a good solid double bottom right there. So you can start buying there if that's what you're asking. But yeah, locally, yeah, they're usually pretty good levels of support and resistance. We watched a double bottom here, I think, a few days ago. So it wasn't. It's the thing that caused this boom right here. There it is. Yeah. See, bottom broke above the neckline. You buy here. You got to wait a little bit of time, but it did end up panning out. This one was a little bit more risky because, I mean, if you bought the neckline breakout, so let's say it's somewhere around here, it came down about 1%, and then it finally rallied. Now, 1% for most of you guys isn't going to kill you, but if you're trading with like 10x leverage, that means you're down 10%. If you're trading with 50x leverage, that means you're down like 50% while you wait for that thing to really take off, so you got to be careful. But yeah, usually it means you find a nice little bottom and you have a full on reversal, and then you can kind of trade that reversal until you feel like you've made some money. Normally, what I like to do is, as far as the stop loss is concerned on these types of moves, especially on a 5-minute chart or 15-minute chart, I don't want to hold this more than 50% down from the neckline here. So if I had a neckline here for this double bottom, and I see that this price went up about $402, now I have to measure about $200 down, and I don't want this price of Bitcoin to fall down below this line while I'm holding it. If it does, I might trim some off and hold some more, and then finally have a stop loss, like my final stop loss, somewhere close to one of the bottoms here, right? But a lot of times when you're trading a double bottom, or the same thing happens with the cup and handle, you don't want the cup, or excuse me, you don't want the handle of the cup to come down more than 50% of the cup size, right? So I don't want this to come down more than 50% down, and it didn't come 50% down. It actually came close, but then eventually started going up and up and up, and same old, right? Get rid of that right there, and get rid of this one, I think, right there as well. Is that what I'm looking for now? Yeah. Yeah, but usually I feel on the 5 and the 15-minute chart, you can find some solid ones for a local area. Like if you're trying to day trade, do a little bit of like maybe a day plus of like 1 to 2 day of holding a specific coin. On the other side of that, if you can find one on a daily chart, it's much more powerful. If you can find one on a weekly chart, it's even more powerful. A lot of times you'll see those simple patterns like a double bottom, double top once you reach the real low part of the market or real high part of the market. So I don't know when the last time I saw a big double bottom or big double top here. Let me get rid of this chart here from today when I was trading a little bit. Here's Apple's chart. Let me get rid of all the technicals for it. If I go over to the 4-hour, does it look even better or no? You can see the mixing of a top neckline right here, breaking down below that, then coming back up to test it out, getting rejected, and then coming back down here. Then we have a double bottom, not breaking above the neckline because the neckline was freaking high up here. So we failed for that respect. But a lot of times, go back to the daily chart here. Another double top, not nearly as nice of a double top, I grant you, but break down below it, coming down hard here. This one, it almost felt like not like a double top because of how choppy it was. Almost like a very ugly cup head and shoulders, like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder there. It's kind of weird how to look at it. I guess if I was to look back at this in hindsight, I would say a head and shoulders play, but that's just me. You can see the neckline being here to here, then breaking down, instead of here to here, I guess you would say, then breaking down with this neckline since we had it bounce up there first. But if you zoom out, usually you can find some decent plays there. There's quite a few patterns involved in these ones. Let's see, that's COVID. Any big moves that say, hey, well, we're having a reversal. I mean, that's kind of a double bottom, but kind of gapped up and gapped down from earnings, so that wasn't really helpful there. Yeah, but if you can find it on the daily chart, they can print you a lot more money. But yeah, it just depends on what you're trading and your strategy for trading it. Anything else up here? Almost a shoulder, head and shoulder, but it's not. The shoulders aren't defined enough. Anything else here? There was a lot of flags and pennants in Apple, but I don't usually see too many head and shoulders and double tops and double bottoms. No, I don't see too much there. But yeah, hope that helped answer your question. There you go. We can auto this one. Ethereum still looks getting hit a little bit here. Hey, Miss K, what's going on here? Hey, Zero, can I ask a question? When you have time, can you look at the stock LLAP? We'll look it up on Finviz here. Terran Orbital Corporation, Aerospace and Defense Industrials, $5. Looks like it's had a pretty rough year. Small satellites, big solutions. 50,000 satellites will be launched in the next 10 years. Someone has to build them. Investors. First quarter, view all events. I don't know. Quarterly reports. Oh, it's for emails. Oh, what the heck? Oh, there we go. 10Q. Not a 10K, but I'll have to do the trick. They really don't have a 10K here? $8K. They don't. Okay. Annual filings. There we go. Had to find a loophole for it. There we go. Okay. I must have just skipped over it. As far as this company. Yes. Business. So we are a blank check company incorporated incorporated as a Cayman Islands exempting company and incorporated for the purpose of effecting a merger, share exchange, asset acquisition, share purchase, reorganization, similar business combinations, 1 to 3 more business entities. They got some more stuff going on here besides satellites, I'll tell you that. Philip Krim. Let me Google this guy up here very fast. Philip Krim is a co-founder and CEO of Casper, which has sold $300 million worth of sleep paraphernalia. Wait, what? Huh. I don't know how to spell satellite. I mean, it seems okay. The fact that their chairman happens to be has served as Casper Sleep Inc.'s chief executive officer and a member of its board of directors. So I don't know how growth through a sleep apparel company really attributes to a growth in satellites, but that's kind of a red flag to me. But if you kind of look through the 10K report, kind of read this yourself, and kind of go through the numbers, you'll see some good information. And I would really read some of this. You don't have to read everything. Just go to the table of contents, look at some of their numbers and stuff like that. It'll help you get out a little bit. But it is interesting to see this kind of play out like that way. Financial statements, and you should be able to see some numbers down here. Age, Philip Krim, 38. So yeah, do some background information on all these people. See what the backgrounds are. They pretty much just tell you right here, right? Board of directors, founder and managing partner of Seawall Capital. So capital, so bringing money, bringing capital, bringing capital investments, bringing capital. Okay, so yeah, read through this and see what you can find. It seems like there's a lot of money behind this, so it could be a good long-term investment. You just want to make sure that they have what they need to keep things going for them right now. The only red flag is the person at the chair, but I would look to see more information about the CEO, the people really guiding the process here, not just the people sitting on the boards and stuff like that. They're not going to be the top 2 people that kind of move the company forward, but they do have the capital to invest in the company to help it with any challenges it may have. But it looks fine enough to invest for the long term. It's pretty cheap. Market cap's probably pretty low. Satellites are going to be a pretty big market here pretty soon. It seems like it'd be worth it. Just kind of dive in there just a little bit more on the 10K report and narrow down exactly why you would want to buy that company. But overall, just kind of a brief look at it, it looks fine to me. I want to dig a little bit deeper though, just because of that real red flag of like the chairman is a sleep guy, like a sleep paraphernalia guy. Just feels weird. But again, if they have a solid CEO from another company, you should be fine with that. And hey, Harrison, Mexi Global Exchange, do you have a business email I can reach you at? Pardon for bothering your stream. If you go to my About section and then you go to email, I think my email should be right there. Business email, something like that. Go to the About section and it should show you. Let me see if I can find you. I'm always open for business opportunities. It's how I fund the entire channel, isn't it, isn't it guys? How do I do this? I haven't looked at my own About section in a while. Your channel, About. There you go. For business inquiries, view email address. It'll ask you to verify that you're not a bot, and you should be able to find it. There you go. What music is this? Oh, okay. Um, and hey, D's, my economist brain tries logic that the Fed tries really hard to get the inflation down for the monetary policy focus, but fiscally the government would introduce some kind of government projects to help the economy. Exactly, yeah. They're working against each other right now. But again, I think from a purely political perspective and an economic one, I think the Democrats right now kind of realize that spending more money is not going to be perceived as helping out anybody at this moment in time. I think what needs to happen is maybe more of local governments can do stuff to help everybody out. But I don't, again, things are going to get much worse before they get better. One of the easiest ways to determine this for you guys is this, or to make you guys understand what I'm talking about here. Let's say you guys are, let's say you guys make $15 an hour. That's minimum wage over here, like in Seattle, Tacoma area, okay? And you guys work 40 hours a week, so that's 15 times 40, right? And you multiply that. Oops, I don't know if it's going to let me do that. You multiply it by 4. So you're making $2,400 a month, okay? And if you want to live anywhere in freaking Tacoma, Seattle, your rent's probably going to be about $1,000 to $1,200. So let me just subtract $1,200 from that just very fast. And that's like half of your income right there going to rent. It kind of sucks, isn't it? But that's my current market. That's not, some people have cheaper rent. I understand that. Like Seattle, Tacoma region, that's really what you're going to get. And so you're left with like about $1,200. Groceries for one person probably cost about $300 a month, right? If you're putting some money into savings right now, you're probably taking out, I don't know, probably just like $200 of this, right? You're left with $700 if you got Wi-Fi plus cell phone plus let's say one streaming service. That's probably about, well, I don't know how much. My Wi-Fi is $125 a month, but I know that's kind of excessive for most people. Let's say $100 a month for cell phone and Wi-Fi. So let's just take another $100 out of that. And then what are we left with right there? Oh man, I messed up something. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have enough money. Like there's going to be people that don't have enough money to drive their kid to school. They don't have enough money to drive to work if gas gets so expensive. So what happens at that point? Well, I mean, like practically, what happens? The government doesn't really have a way to help people out. In Washington, we have a gas tax, I think, gas tax of like 50 cents or something like that. Washington state gas tax, 49 cents a gallon. You know, so they could try to take that down. But you know, my main point is here. I'm forgetting a whole bunch of what everyday people pay for because I pay for a lot more stuff. Like I pay for a cleaning lady, and that's not cheap. I pay for a dog, you know, pets and everything like that. Just imagine you guys are living paycheck to paycheck and you're barely making ends meet as it is. And then all of a sudden, imagine your gas bill from now goes up like another 25%. You can't afford to do a lot of the other stuff. You can't afford to get new clothes. You can't afford to go out and have, you know, lunch with friends. That means the restaurant industry suffers. That means, you know, fast food places like McDonald's, even they suffer. It's going to be a whole process here, and we're only just now seeing the start of it. I wish I was better at math. I'd be able to show you that. Usually all my math is done by equations and calculators I have on my system, so I don't got to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, that's the bad thing about what we're experiencing right now. We haven't really thought about it in terms of like, whoa, imagine your neighbor, I mean, depending on your neighbor, right? Not being able to afford to go to work because gas is so expensive. Or if gas is so expensive, are you going to be driving like a half an hour to go have lunch with your friends? Or are you guys going to try to find some way to carpool? What are you guys going to do? I mean, at one point, it may just be cheaper to actually go through an Uber, because I don't think Uber is actually paying their drivers all too much for a gas surcharge here. Probably like a few cents or so, probably not as much as they need to keep on driving, right? But you're going to see those type of inflationary effects really have some drastic effects, and that's just on a human-to-human level, like, it's something you guys can imagine. Well, now imagine if something goes, I live on the West Coast. Stuff from China is cheaper on the West Coast than it is the East Coast, because it doesn't have to be travel. It doesn't have to go across country, right? So, imagine now that you want to transport some type of good or service from China over to the West Coast. It gets to the West Coast, but now you got to pay for it to be trucked from the West Coast to the East Coast. You think that's going to be cheaper with gas prices at $6 a gallon? Be honest, no, it's not. And so then that corporation is going to have to do one of two things. They're going to have to pass on that price to you, the consumer, and then you guys will have the opportunity to say, hell no, I'm not paying all the extra money for that good. It's a luxury good. I don't want it. Or you'll see them absorb the cost into themselves, thereby having less revenue generated. Their margins go down, and then when they announce that during their market earnings, their stock will get hurt hard, and the CEOs and the people that own a lot of stock, their net wealth will be hit hard as well. So, somebody's got to lose, and normally corporations, of course, try to pass it on to the little guy. Some are not. Walmart's not doing it as much, even though Walmart has been doing it. They've kind of hit a limit where they're thinking, hey, if we raise it anymore, our people will start to get mad, and they may try to look somewhere else for their shopping needs, right? So, economy's not good. I wish I had better news, of course, like I always say, but it really is just kind of a shitty situation. Let's see right here. Yeah, no worries, LaGrasse. Always happy to help you out. And hey, Crypto Beehive, have you heard of a stock symbol SI? I was told it's on the way. It's the way banks trade Bitcoin. Can you look at it, please? SI. Silvergate Capital. I think Silvergate, the CEO, one of the people on that board is actually that we just talked about in the other company, the satellite one, works over here. It's down a little bit today. It was at a price of like $227, and now it's at 70. Ouch. Yep, it's being talked about with MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and Silvergate. So that is true. It is part of that little set of stocks. They sold. The board members did really smart, and they were really smart. They sold off a lot of their stock when the stock was soaring up high. It's still barely alive right now. It can definitely come back down to the 50s, so be careful with it. I would only buy this when Bitcoin, I think, is at its lowest point, and then you might see a nice little rebound there. But I'd be careful with this one. If you go over to the website again, I would refer you to its 10K form. The Silvergate banking platform is as innovative as the entrepreneurs we serve. Scroll down. I'm scrolling down. Silvergate Bank has served entrepreneurs in unique and niche industries for over 20 years, recognizing digital currency's potential during the sector's infancy. We built strong relationships with pioneers who were turned away by traditional banks. This solidified our position as industry-leading partners and innovators, which remains true today. Learn more here. I'm not going to learn more, but yeah. I would go over here. Usually if you go all the way down, investor relations. Website's really slow, but I don't like that, but it's fine. This website is extremely slow. Okay. Go to investors relationships. Yeah, it's not even responding. Okay, we can exit the page. But you want to find the 10K report like we just did with the previous one, and then from there kind of dig deep and read all the information there, and I'll give you an example of what they're trying to do. But I think as a long-term hold, yes, it'll be worth it, but you really want to time it with Bitcoin's bottom, or just kind of scale into the position over the next few months, and a little bit here, a little bit there. By the time Bitcoin turns around, you have a solid position in there where you can hold for long-term gains, but you got to be careful with it, looks like. And hey, Bartis, is Luna dead? It kind of feels dead to me right now. It hasn't been going up as much as it was over the past few days. It's kind of settled down. Volume has definitely dropped off. You may see a spike in volume eventually, but right now it doesn't seem like anything special is happening with it. Kind of what I told you guys the other day. If you guys go into Luna, you guys really have to think about it as in terms of a pure casino bet, where anything you put into it can be lost, and you have to be okay with it being lost. But yeah, because right now it doesn't look like it's doing anything at all. Anything at all, Bridie, you're right. Hey, Alan, time happy to see you back as well. Hey, Brandon, if there is rent around here for $1,200 per month, tell me where, please. Exactly, yeah. $1,600 is minimum around here. Good night, Zero. It really depends on where you guys are looking for housing. So if I were to go to, I don't know. Apartments. Let's just start. So Tacoma's not as expensive as Seattle. So I know it's not going to be that bad. Vista Del Rey, I used to live in a place that was right next to this. Like, I used to live in this place right here. There you go, City View Apartments. It looks kind of shitty on the outside, to be honest, now I look at it. But the inside is beautiful. But I used to have the large one-bedroom. I don't even know if they have it anymore. It wasn't 540 square feet. Oh, unavailable floor plans. Let's see. No, they don't have it anymore. Square foot, 540. No, that's not it. I'm surprised they don't have it. I guess there was only like a few floors that had it, but yeah, they took it away. It was like this square footage, but with just one bedroom and a very large dining room. Here. I used to live in that exact apartment right there. Very nice area, beautiful waterfront views. That's really why you live there. And it's downtown, of course. But even just for a studio in this place, oh, it doesn't tell the price. It'd be like $1,200 for a studio of 513 square feet. So yeah, what do you call? Definitely more expensive. I think what else do we have around here? If you want more, kind of close to downtown, there's the Orion. The studios there cost $1,350 to start off with. Back to the map. So $1,300 for one bedroom. $1,400 for one bedroom. $2,100 for a studio here. $1,500 for a one bedroom. $1,700 for a studio starting off with. $1,500 for a one bedroom. $1,300 for a studio. You're pretty much screwed. But in order to live in that place, which I did, and I was paying like my $1,800 of rent at one point, they wanted you to prove that you made 4 times your income in order to even be, like, your application, in order for it to even go through, you had to make 4x the monthly income, which meant it was very, very difficult to even just get through the door in that spot. The economy is going to hit people hard, and the prices of rent will continue to go up as well because these places are getting taxed more and more as far as property taxes as well, so they're trying to keep their margins as well. So as the government taxes more and more and more, you're going to start to see corporations start to pass on those costs as well. Whenever there's a tax, the corporations aren't paying it. I mean, in theory, they're paying more money, but in reality, they're just raising the price of their goods, so we pay more money. So it's not good, of course, but yeah, we all wish we had cheap rent. It's not possible, at least anywhere I live. And hey, Brandon, how much money do you usually put into a stock when you do a swing trade? 1K, 10K, 20K? If it's a stock, around $10,000 to $20,000. If it's a options play, between $1,000 and $5,000. And sometimes I'll do as low as $500, maybe even as low as $100 if I'm just having fun with it. It really depends on how aggressive I want to be with the play. Right now, there's no reason to be aggressive on many of the trades that I'm doing, so I'll probably toss in about $1,000 worth of options. I'll hope that I can make anywhere from 20 to 50% on the day trade there with the options play, and then from there, and that's like if it does really well. On the sometimes you just make 5 to 10%, right? But if I make let's just say I make 50% by holding an option for a few day period of time, and I have like $1,000 in it. I made like $500 for like a few days worth of for holding an option for like a few days, and then you multiply that by me doing like maybe 4 or 5 of those same trades in the week. You can make a pretty decent amount of money for that 1 week right there. But usually, if I'm just trading stocks and I'm not trading actual options, 10 to 20K. That's the only way I can really justify like spending my time looking for those types of trades. So if I don't have those screenshots anymore. So let's go off of one of Apple's breakouts here. The big one of last year, the one that made us the most money. So if I had, now I made like 1,000% here on this particular trade because of, I scaled out kind of slowly. I forget which one, no, not favorite tracement. What was I using? A trend-based Fibonacci extension. There we go. So I played the breakout, and I pretty much sold at every resistance level. Some resistance levels, you can also put right here as well. Okay. So you can see there's a whole bunch of lines. Normally when you guys are doing Fibonacci extensions, you're aiming for 1, which is this white line right there, right? So I bought my options right here, waited a few days, and it really started to pop off. So I sold some right here, a teeny bit, like 5%, 10% right here, like a good 50% right here, and like another 50%, like the rest of it kind of over here when it got kind of choppy. Mostly because it was a time thing for options as well. But on that options trade, the options that I were holding into the last few days, those were up 1,000%, and so I was able to turn like $5,000 into a lot of money, right? But in terms of if I just have $10,000 of Apple, right, and I sell, let's say I don't even scale out, I just sell everything up here, I've made about 8% back of that $10,000. So, you know, I suck at math, as you guys know. But let's say I put $10,000 in here, and it only increases about 8%. I only made about $800. You know, so you got to put more money there. And if you guys only invest like $200, or you guys really only made like $16 for that nice rally of Apple had, right? So I normally will put less money into options, but it'll give me better returns. I used to stream from my laptop, so a lot of the times I really I had a bunch of pictures I would show you guys as far as like what you guys can expect in the options market. But I'm not streaming from my laptop anymore. Mostly because I invested in like a really heavy duty computer here. I had another computer, but it just got old, so I just bought this one instead. But I didn't want to stream on it because I traded off of it. But now they got all this extra horsepower here. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff in this computer that apparently everybody wants because there's like a shortage of chips and stuff like that. I don't understand it too much, but the guy at Best Buy was like, "You're so lucky you found this," and I was like, "Well, thank you very much." But if I go over here to my channel, that's not the link I want to go to. Your channel. We'll go down a little bit here. Community. Once there's a bull market, I will start posting more plays for you guys. But right now, if you guys don't know how to trade in a bear market, you guys are gonna be losing a lot of money, which is why I'm so hesitant about doing this. Like I normally tell you guys, hey, excuse me, guys, jeez. Normally, I tell you guys ahead of time through a short video, something like this, like, hey, keep an eye on this. Like in this case, I told you guys that Tesla was going to 782. It stopped at 782, but then it just kept on going. But I gave you guys a heads up a while ago that Tesla was going to be coming down. If I go back down here even more, here's some SPY puts that we traded. I only had a little bit of money in here, but it went up 545%. This is a paper trading account I have with you. I usually invest more money in my private one, but can I go back now? I was going to reset every time. Okay, let me just kind of scroll down. We'll go back down towards last year. Here's one. Here's something realistic of how options look. Not everything is going to be green. So you see Cone is down 1750 for the day. Redfin is down 1,000 for the day. AYX is down 500 for the day. EIX is up 875. Duke is up 1,250, and AE is up 1,500, and so forth. For the total for the day, I'm only up $240, and for all these, since I opened them up, I'm only up $815. So that's more of a realistic look of what you're expecting there. But if I show you guys some more stuff back in time here, I'll do one more picture, I guess. I want to see if I have an Apple one here. Here's one of the Apple ones. So ALB was up 440%. AMT was up 80%. This is 10 months ago, so this was like the peak of the bull market. Apple was up 806%. I was down 1300 for the day, but the open was up quite a bit. But I had already sold out a lot of my things for a while. But what do you call? Kyle said, "Thank you, Michael. Up big today because of you. Thanks also for convincing me not to get into SPCE." Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a disaster. I bought puts on that bad boy. It was beautiful. But yeah, I will normally put much more capital into the stock market by just buying stocks, but I prefer to trade options. That way, I just have a chunk of cash waiting on the sidelines, and then whenever I feel the need to put it in something, I'll do that. An example of that would be Tesla. When I traded Tesla last year, Tesla had a great rally. I actually just bought a bunch of Tesla because the options market was just not working out for me in this particular stock. So uh, maybe this will show you a good example. So there's a trend line right there, kind of. You broke out, and nothing happened. So my options were losing money because we weren't going up, and so I just sold off. And then all of a sudden we tanked, and then I was like, "Do I want to buy?" I was like, "No, it's too risky right now." So what I did is I just bought like $10,000 of Tesla, just like cash, and then I was just waiting because I knew we were going to go up eventually. I just didn't know when it was going to happen, and so there was also a trend line right here if you guys can see this. But even this wasn't working too much for me anyway. So I just wasn't really trustful of anything I was seeing on this market right now. So I just, instead of trying to go options which have a time limit, and if the time limit runs out, you lose everything for the most part unless you sell early, of course. But so in this case, I bought about $10,000 worth of Tesla, and then that's kind of about, I didn't buy it at the right time. I bought it tomorrow in here. Then I sold it around like $900 or so. So below 1,000, kind of had this big pop. I sold it kind of right around here, and I made 48% on that investment. If I were trading options, I could have made potentially like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars off that trade. But I just did not understand when this big move was going to come because it broke out, and it really didn't do anything after the breakout. And you have a time limit with options as well. So there are times when it's more convenient, but you really have to kind of time those big moves. Otherwise, you can be in a lot of pain there, a lot of pain. There you go. Okay. And hey, so BBY, their asset is worth more than their market cap right now. Bed Bath and Beyond probably a lot lower because of the way the economy is looking, to be honest. Um, and they're considered a meme stock now, so now traditional investors really don't want to touch it too much because it's just too risky. Nobody wants to play with meme stocks. Traditional markets don't want to play with meme stocks. Um, it had an okay breakout, but then it just got slammed back down. So that breakout really didn't do anything. As soon as we broke down below this, that was a good opportunity to short the sucker or buy puts. It came down hard after that. But as far as how far Bed Bath & Beyond can come down, oh, man, we gotta go to the monthly charts, don't we? Yeah, we do. Okay. Like this has not been doing good for a while here. So the next stop was most likely going to be around $6 or so if it keeps on going down this bad, and then ultimately down here to 327. Um, if we're going on the grand scale of things here, by the end of this nasty recession type of bad market, you may see it come back down to around $4, $3 or so. Yeah, so this can definitely come down a lot more unless there's some type of meme stock rally again. This bad boy can definitely come back down a lot, unfortunately, a lot. And you're going to see probably shorts hop on this as well here pretty soon. Let me double check that very fast for you, though. Yeah, it has a short float of 29%. You got to be very, you got to, it's a very risky play to be doing right now. Usually nowadays that hedge funds know that Wall Street Bets is going after like plays to try to pop them. They have contingency plans, so if you know for 2 or 3 days the price goes up, they'll be ready on the third or fourth day to really pummel everything back down with everything they got. And right now, because the government's no longer giving away free money, people don't have the power, like as a collective, to really going up against Wall Street anymore. That was like a one-time thing. Um, so, Bed Bath and Beyond, probably $3-4, and then you just got to make sure that they're making enough money where they're not going to go bankrupt if we do go into a full-blown recession. Bed Bath and Beyond seems like one of those stores to me where they just, I mean, I go in there every now and again, but it's usually like once every year, twice every other year, type of stuff, right? So I'd be careful on holding this one for the long term. If I'm looking at this, the CEO and them have been buying up some stuff this year, but they've been buying at a price of $27, $19, $20, $13, $15, and where we are right now, $8. So they've just been losing a bunch of money. Um, you know, so I'd be careful of holding this one for the long term. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn around their business operations and start really making some money, but market cap is only 677 million. It can definitely pop. It can definitely pop up, but it's just traditional investors don't want to play around with the meme stock. It's not. I guess it wouldn't be seen as a professional type of thing to trade at this point because it's been turned into a meme stock. I could be wrong on that one. There still could be some interest, but I think right now with the way the market's looking, why bother hop into a meme stock if you're an accredited investor when you could just hop into an Apple or Microsoft, some type of tech play, and the tech plays have been hit so hard they're going to have some really good rebounds whenever we're really done with all this falling. Here. And hey, Crypto Hash, not really many good trades today, just like yesterday. We're waiting for a big pop or a big drop. Right now, somebody is trying to short Ethereum and Bitcoin down. It didn't really work. We kind of popped right back up here, which is kind of nice to see. I'm looking more to do some day trades here, but even Bitcoin's day trading hasn't been as good here. If we were to, that's Ethereum. Let me pop up Bitcoin here very fast. Most of the technicals over the past few days have just not been as good as we want. I really would wait to see if you can find a solid pattern. You see a solid double bottom right here. That led to a nice move upwards. You haven't seen anything here yet. I would wait for a nice pattern on either the 15-minute or the 1, 2, or 4 hour charts. But right now, you're not really seeing much stuff here. You're not seeing much good stuff here at all. We're just casually consolidating, waiting for a move up or a move down. Whatever way we break out, that's really going to be that big trade that's worth doing. But right now, we're just kind of in the middle. We're not doing anything of interest. So most people are just kind of waiting to see if we move back up or we come back down. If you're buying right now, you want to have a stop loss probably around 28,600 or so, kind of going to last year's lows. If we break down below that again, then we start to tumble, then people start to freak out again, yada, yada, yada. But if we have an opportunity to consolidate a little bit more than break out, then we have to deal with the resistance level up here of about 31,400. But if you're trading with some leverage, you guys should be able to make some good little income right there. 5% income there. If you have 10x leverage, that's 50% gains. We're probably holding for like 10 hours or so. So not terrible. But, at this point in time, even day trading is kind of boring on Robinhood, not Robinhood, on Bitcoin. You're really hoping that we get out of this larger pattern first, and that's where we can really start having some fun with the trading. But now, I mean, there are trades to be made on the day on day trading, like small scalps and stuff like that. We're in for like maybe an hour at most. But whew, you gotta be prepared for those ones. I mean, the last one probably was this breakdown right here. Broke down, and that's what you would have been trying to go for. Yeah, it just doesn't look nice when you actually you miss out so much when you trade like that. There we go. Okay. Uh, and hey, Samicus, I absolutely love trading Tesla options. I love trading Tesla options too. It's just I don't like trading them when the technicals aren't working the way I expect them to. But Tesla was really a good play for last year. It really, really was. My big play of last year was Apple. That's where I made all of my money, all the cheddar was on Apple, Apple calls. Also some Microsoft, also some Clorox, I think it was as well. We had some good earnings plays. Some of you guys recommended Starbucks, so we talked about Starbucks, and I was like, oh, let's buy some calls on Starbucks. Their earnings should be good. Nice big pop the next day. Yeah, no worries, Starscream. And hey, the King, I buy most stuff I use to get there on Amazon now. Exactly. I buy a lot of my stuff nowadays from Amazon, or I go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, or a generic store like Safeway. That's usually where I get all of my food products, and Amazon gives me all my other stuff. Like I bought a kiddie pool for Loki, so he can take a bath in it and just play in the water when it gets hot this weekend. I could have bought that at Walmart if I wanted to go walk in and get something, but I was like, why would I go in and get something when I could just have Amazon deliver it to me, and they're not even charging me to deliver it? It's not bad, right? So that's the thing. I think Bed Bath & Beyond will probably turn into some type of Kmart in the future. If you all remember Kmart, when Kmart went out of business, I was jumping for joy because they had a whole bunch of fishing gear like 75-80% off, and I was just like, I want this reel, I want this reel, I want this line. I bought like a lot of line, like a lot of the practical stuff you need. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of lures, hooks, everything. I bought it all. I still have a lot of it to this day because I just bought so freaking much of it. I spent like $600, $800 on like 80% discounted fishing gear. They were like, what the heck are you doing buying all this? I was like, I'm a fisherman. This is cheap. I lose hooks all the time. I lose weights every now and again. This will keep me going for years to come. And it's been like 5-7 years. I don't even know how when Kmart went out of business. It's been a while. It's been like 10 years maybe. I don't know. I still have all that stuff there. And hey, Michael. Yeah, Bitcoin's going to be frustrating for a while. My best thing I can tell you guys, it's going to suck for a while, then it's going to be okay. The big thing I want you guys to remember is the majority of people, I think, have kind of come back to my viewpoint. I know a lot of people were more bullish over the last few months, but I was just like, no, not so bullish after all. I think the majority of people now think we might be coming back down to the 200 weekly moving average, okay? And I think that right now that's where we're most likely headed. But if the Nasdaq starts breaking down below its own 200 weekly moving average, that's where Bitcoin can come all the way back down to like $14,000 to $16,000. And I want to stress that, okay? Right now, nobody's really talking about it. I will probably make a more detailed video talking about it over the weekend for members, and then after like a week or two of it being for members only, I'll move it over to everybody else. But you should understand that going forward, that if the economy continues to get worse and we cannot hold that crucial level of the 200 weekly moving average of the Nasdaq, the only two times we've broken down below that level ever, the 2008 financial crisis and the 2000 dot-com bubble. Okay, we don't want that to happen because that Bitcoin has been following the Nasdaq. That's where you might see Bitcoin be dragged back down to $16,000 if the Nasdaq really does break down below the 200 weekly moving average, which will be very interesting, of course, because this is, as we talk about, this is Bitcoin's first recession, or potential recession. Okay, so we don't exactly know how it's going to deal with those moves. If we kind of zoom out here for Bitcoin on the weekly chart, we have never had a death cross with the 20 week and the 200 week on the weekly chart. Never come down below it. Not even over here. Over here, it looks like we could, but didn't happen over here. Didn't even happen over here. We come close, but we never have actually had it. There's an opportunity how fast we're coming down now and how bad the stock market is right now, where we could have our first weekly death cross. But that would not happen for like months here. So we don't got to worry about that right now. But it's just something to be aware of at this moment in time. So, I try to let you guys know ahead of time that there could be bad stuff happening. That way you guys at least have time to kind of figure out a plan. That's why I told you guys back over here in mid-February, like, hey, you see this green line moving down? Normally when we had that death cross, and I pointed out, well, look at this. Death cross here, big move down. Death cross here, big move down. And all the way back here in 2014, death cross here, big move down, right? I was kind of going against the grain at that time, but now that we've really had some of those negative moves, I feel like the majority of people are more bearish on Bitcoin. I mean, how could you not? I know if you go on Twitter these days, you can still see people still see people saying Bitcoin's bullish or something like that, but you know. Oh, let's see. Let me find the chart here. A good chart. No. Maybe the bulls have stopped doing a whole bunch of charts here. I don't know. You guys remember the last few days they've been screaming that everything is bullish, bullish, bullish. Well, here let me just type in crypto over. He's the normal guy we look at. Uh, he's saying we're gonna have another move like that pretty soon. That was at 28,000. What chart he's looking at? Oh, he's looking at the Bitcoin 1 month chart. Yeah, these people keep on making stuff up. Um, but yeah, well, it's a better thing to go back in time like this. Let me just zoom down on some of his older charts. May 11th. Oh, there's one. Most people on Twitter, this is back here from a few weeks ago before we really started to plummet. This was when Bitcoin was at $36,000. Remember, a lot of people like to look at just they try to find the easy way of just looking at lines and very simple things like, hey, this looked like this then, this looked like this then. You kind of have to look at Bitcoin more in a macro sense, and you have to understand that when these key things happen, we go through these cycles. There's no way of getting out of the cycles. We have the cycles for a reason. Nobody has found a way to get out of the cycles, and yet now we're back down like to the $29,000 range, $30,000 range now. So just be careful with the people you guys see on TikTok and Twitter and all that good stuff. A lot of times they try to make it seem like this is something like very strong, but if you kind of go back and listen to what we were talking about back then, death crosses, historical norms, breaking down below the 20-month moving average, those things are much more consequential than a line on a chart. Even though it looks like support, it's still not going to be as useful as looking at some of those moving averages that actually have a lot more data behind them, a lot more formulas behind them. That's what the bots use. That's what billionaires use practically. So, they have the big dogs here, right? And remember what we talked about? Whenever we break down below the 20-month moving average right here, we have a wick. We had a wick that came back up, and then we moved down. And what do you know? We moved down. COVID was a special case. We just kind of came down and came back up. But here, came down, came back up just a little bit. Then we came down over here, went choppy for a little bit of time, but ultimately came down after breaking down below the 20-month moving average. You got to understand that Bitcoin trades in cycles. It's not just going to continue going up. It's not that easy. If it was this easy, there would be tons of people just kind of buying and holding all the time because it would just be going up, having some big dips, but continuing to go up and up and up. They shake everybody out. They shake them all out. A lot of people have already been shaken out this time, but at least you guys have a good opportunity to continue buying. Remember, my long-term portfolios, I was buying stuff here. Not that much, but I was still buying stuff throughout this whole process, even towards all-time highs. I was still buying for the long term here. Now I'm definitely spending more capital buying now because the price is lower, but I'm usually buying a little bit of crypto every single month and stuff that I believe just to get more coins, just to get more because I think in the long term, crypto is going to be very, very good for my personal wealth. You guys too, I assume, right? There we go. Okay. The last two Kmart's just closed recently. The last Kmart that I saw, it was like half of it went half Mexican. So I had a whole bunch of Mexican stuff inside of it. That's the only reason I went inside of it. I love that Kmart because it had a bunch of Mexican food and goods in it. They were really smart about it, and they stayed open for a while, and ultimately they were forced to close down because their prices were so expensive. I don't know why Kmart felt like they had to upmark everything. But yeah, it was really, really weird. But yeah, rep Kmart, blue light specials. And JC Penney's, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that one. And hey, Michael, Rover is always super excited. Yeah, I don't mind if people on TikTok and Twitter are very excited about the charts. I just wish they would give proper technicals. There's no reason to really lie about technicals unless you guys want more views, right? But more followers, I guess you would say. Yeah, it just doesn't make much sense to lie about technicals or just make technicals up. Because it's not that you got to look. I guess it's just the difference between a professional trader and a trader who talks, who talks for a living about it. And it's definitely much harder to go from a full-time trader to like a YouTuber. Trust me, I'm still learning how to YouTube, but Crypto Rover has much better content than I do because even though he's not really giving accurate technicals, he still is able to talk better than me or be more entertaining than I am, which is what I'm trying to do now, be more entertaining, which is why I'm spending the week learning how to edit videos a little bit better. And hey, the king. Not sure if this point, if this his point of view, but it's is good. But I'm dollar cost averaging into graph Polygon Ethereum. What do you call? Yeah, if you guys are slowly buying into the market right now, that's not a bad thing. You guys just want to make sure you guys have some cash in case we run into the 200 weekly moving average for like a larger buy-in, if that's your plan. Or you guys want to have some cash in case the Nasdaq breaks down below its 200 weekly moving average and Bitcoin heads down to like $16,000 or so. I mean, that would be the ultimate of all shakeouts, really. If Bitcoin goes down to 16,000, people would freak out, freak out, freak out, freak out. But right now, Bitcoin's still just trying to consolidate and get out of this pattern here. Right, consolidate and break out, or consolidate and go down. Ethereum right now just broke down below its little level of support, but it's not really a massive one here. You might be able to use that. No, even Ethereum doesn't even have any nice setups right now. There you go. We'll see if we ultimately get hit pretty hard. We did have that sell-off slash buyback from the whale number 3. Remember we talked about this? Within a few hours, he sold 1,500 Bitcoin. Then he bought back 1,200 Bitcoin. So that was kind of a weird red flag there. I don't know exactly because normally every time he sells, the price of Bitcoin goes down a little bit, like a pretty good amount. Well, and then he buys back a few days later. It's like he sold on 4/29, April 29th. Then he bought back May 2nd, right? So a couple days later. This time he sold and bought on the same freaking day, which was kind of confusing. So I don't really know what to make of that. So I'm kind of calling it like a scratch. Doesn't mean anything to me, and I'm just going back to the technicals here. But it is very interesting to see that he sold and bought. We'll see ultimately what that means. But right now it looks like Bitcoin may have an opportunity to at least break back out again. This is Ethereum. Ethereum may have a good chance. Bitcoin may have a good chance of breaking back out. Excuse me. Because remember, that level of resistance we're worried about right now for Bitcoin, if where we want to come back up to, is around 32,800 or so, kind of around right around here or so. If I can find it, yeah, right around here. And that kind of goes back to. Let me just pull up the GAN fans. Not that GAN fan. Yeah, this GAN fan level right here. 31,474 is the level of resistance we're going to have to deal with. This one right here is about 31,900, of course, up there. Maybe it's 31,900 actually, not 32,900. And then this one up here is all the way up here at 37,000. I don't think we're going to come back up there. This one's all the way at $33,000. I don't think we're going to go that high. But if we do, these are going to be really good resistance levels to try to short Bitcoin back down. But preferably 31,800. That's the one I'm thinking of more. Or this one up here of 31,500. Both are going to be a pain in the butt to get back above. They were both pretty good levels of support for us. Had a nice little stop there for a second. On this one as well, we stopped there for like a whole day. Then we came down and broke down hard. These are going to be levels of resistance we're going to have to deal with if we have a pump back up. It would be nice to have a good green finish to a really bad 2 months at this point. But, at this point, we're just consolidating. If we break out, it's a good buy. If we break down, it's a good short. But that's really up to you guys if you guys want to take that risk right now. I'm kind of holding some longer term shorts right now. They're kind of some are losing money, some are making money, kind of breaking even at this point. But at this point, guys, and overall Bitcoin looks extremely bearish. But we could definitely have a couple days of having a nice green day or two. But for that to happen, we first have to break out, and then we have to get the backing of the whales because they're going to be the ones that really push us up from there. We're not going to really be breaking out like that until out of here, until the whales kind of give us a nice big boom. We saw that yesterday. They tried to, right? Nice little surge. Nice big surge coming out of here to stop us from falling down. And then all of a sudden, shorts came right back. Rejected from the trend line. Took us back down. So, it's a simple whale battle. You guys, this is more of a flip a coin type of thing. If you're buying right now or shorting right now, you're flipping a coin. What you probably want to do is wait for the breakout and probably want to see us close at that 1 hour. If you're lucky, the breakout should happen right as an hour candle is closing. That way you can see that it's been confirmed, from an hour point. Because we came above it, we closed on the 5 minute, 15 minute, but we weren't able to actually close above it on the 1 hour chart, which is usually what I look for. Hour or 4 hour chart. 2 hour, not able to close above it. 4 hour, not able to close above it as well, right? So that's really what we're looking at right now. You want to see preferably a strong move happen up or down at the end of an hour, of an hour long candle, I guess you would say. I'm trying to say hour in an hour. But yeah, that's what you would be really looking for right there. And then once it closes down below this on the hour chart, or closes above this on the hour chart, you open up a position with leverage if you guys want to, and then you guys just have to hold. You might see it come back down below the white line. You might freak out a little bit, and then you got to really just trust the process as to continue going up. But even then, again, whales are playing their game, so you got to be careful. You guys have to have a stop loss to protect yourself if you guys are going to invest right now. Just because the weekend is always a little bit more volatile because we're no longer following the Nasdaq. But we're gearing up for a little bit of a move. Regardless, we are gearing up for a move, probably on the upside, unless whales come in here and absolutely slam us down. And the whales do like to do that to us recently, lately, haven't they? And there you go. And hey, Shidoshi. Okay, everybody, I'm going to call it a night right now. I need to go grab some dinner, and I need to go. I'm going to be working on Adobe Premiere tonight, trying to make the best editing I can here. That way I can start making better content for you guys. Because I'm trying to find an editor right now through Fiverr, whatever it is, and Reddit. They're all trash. All trash. All trash. All trash. All trash. So I'm going to try to build a template for myself to make everything a little bit easier. And that way, when I start making videos for you guys next week again, they should be of a much higher quality than what you guys have seen thus far. But it's going to take some time for me to do all that work. So I'm going to work on it tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, and see how everything goes, okay? All right. But guys, have a great rest of your night. Overall, still bearish, unfortunately. But at least we have an opportunity over the next 24 to 48 hours to have some type of pop if we can just manage to break out. Just be careful of the whales right now. You can see that they've been causing some big moves in the market over the last 24 to 38 hours, 36 hours, excuse me. We got to wait it out.